Hi, my name's Judy Collins Hale, and I'm with Shared Home Ownership Victoria. And today I'm here with Jill Marchand, and she's from the Esquimalt Village Cohousing. And she is going to give us a presentation about where they're at with their project. And I'm, she's told me that she's been with this group as an equity member since February 2025.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Jill. We're really excited to have you here and to be able to share this wonderful project.
Thank you, Judy, and thank you, David, hiding in the background. So, good morning. As I mentioned, my name is Jill Marchand. I'm with the Esquimalt Village Cohousing. Give you a little bit of a background. My husband and I moved to Vancouver Island in 2019, so we were here just before COVID. And as retirees, we found it a little bit difficult to get to know communities and families and that sort of idea outside of our immediate family. And so we've moved twice since then. And at some point, I was kind of really feeling that I would like to reinvestigate co-housing. We looked at it when we lived in Ottawa, and there wasn't anything that kind of met all the criteria. So when this opportunity came up to join this co-housing project, at first we were reluctant because I wasn't sure if it was the right place, the right time, whether I was ready to move into an apartment. So we gave it a thought for about a month and then jumped in right away and became equity members in the project very soon after that. So let me tell you a little bit about our project and the story of how we are where we are today. Let me see if this works. So this is our team as it was when we were at the point where we had taken purchase of our property on Esquimalt Road in Esquimalt itself. And so our membership has grown since then, but almost everybody you see there is now an equity member in the project or a member of our professional team that is managing the back end of the activities. So what is co-housing? This is a big question. So first off, it's not a co-op, nor is it a commune, which some people seem to think it is. But co-housing is a form of community-led housing. That means that existing and potential members form a building group, as we're called, to create housing with and for each other, which means that we control the leadership and the ownership and the management of our community. Co-housing focuses on reproducing the best of village life, which is part of the reason we call ourselves Esquimalt Village Cohousing. We're living intentionally. The project is built at cost, but the final prices tend to be close to what the market housing is like in the community. And that's because of the extensive common space that we have and the environmental features that we add to our building. Co-housing originated in Northern Europe, and it's a name of a type of collaborative living that attempts to overcome the alienation of our modern housing communities. In co-housing, we know our neighbors, which is really cool, and we become a very supportive community. The next slide. So this is sort of the footprint. We have in North America about 185 and growing co-housing communities. There are currently 24 in Canada, and funnily enough, there's 16 in BC itself. And of those 16 projects, make sure we get the data on this. Of the 16 projects, 12 have been facilitated by Renee Matthews. And that name will mean a little bit to some people and not so much to others. But why this is important is Renee has set up co-housing and been involved in co-housing since 1998. Every single co-housing project that Renee has started has completed successfully. And this is a really important fact because 98% of all co-housing projects that start up never get to a building being completed. More about Renee in a couple minutes. So we're busy designing our new homes. I've never been busier than what we've been doing in the last year and a bit. We've had 4 design workshops so far, and they're held with members. And yes, we also engage our associate members in that because their input is really important because sometimes it's picking up comments and feedback that we're missing because of either the age that we're at or our own personal needs. We have 2 more design workshops to go that'll be held in the coming months, in addition to skills workshops that we learn how to be better individuals living in a community. It's self-financed, it's not for profit, it's multi-generational, and it's designed to support residents socially, financially, and sustainably. So this photo was taken in our first design workshop in July of 2025. So here we were at that point, hardly knowing our other community members, figuring out what our building exterior is going to look like, and working with our landscape architect to design what our tree and planting was going to look like last July. It's pretty amazing, and we're really happy with the results of it. Where we're located is on a property, currently 1148 Esquimalt Road is the address. It's 2 duplexes that were built in 1957. It's a flat, walkable neighborhood. Across the street from it, you'll find a grocery store, coffee shop, pet store, pharmacy, those types of things. And in addition to that, there are 3 schools in the area, all walkable. There is a library, fantastic library. And we have the Memorial Park, which is where you'll find the farmers market running from about April to October, which is every Thursday. Summers on Tuesday nights is music in the park at Memorial Park in July and August. Free event, absolutely fabulous. So we've got everything that we want. And for those that are really curious about how far we are from the ocean, you're a 15-minute walk to Sachs Point or Macaulay Point from there. So you get to the ocean quite quickly, which is really, really nice. Bus service is found on Esquimalt Road itself, and we are very close to the cycling pathways for the ENN and the connector to the Galloping Goose. And the best donut shop ever. Remember that. That's really important. Okay, so this is a rendering of our drawing that was done up. So this is July 2025 that we started with this. The only thing that we think will change from that is probably the exterior colors. The brickwork and the type of hardscape materials that are going to be added to the building will remain the same. It's pretty much a well-adopted practice. We just haven't landed on the colors yet. So colors are important to you. You should join soon so you can have some influence on this. Now, let's talk a little bit more about this. So in this drawing, we are working with our professionals to design this. So they've done a really good job of helping us navigate what we needed to do for the rezoning process. So Renee is the advisor to our project manager, and she's located in Vancouver. Cornerstone Architecture is the architectural firm that is doing the work, and LADR is our landscape architect, very familiar with Esquimalt and Esquimalt's requirements for planting, which is really important as you go through the rezoning and development process. Floors 2 through to 5 are identical in layout, and this makes building really efficient. 7 units on each floor, and all of them are accessible through an elevator or through 2 stairways, which is really quite nice. Each floor will have what's called a common space, and we'll make it what we want to make it for that floor. We've got lots of requests for different things. Some people want a puzzle table, some people want a Lego, somebody wants a yoga space. There's all kinds of things, and we'll figure out what can fit in and where it can fit in, and it's all done in support of the community. The only floor that's been predetermined in what the community common space will be is the 2nd floor, which is where we will have larger washers. If people want to use larger washers or don't want to have a washer and dryer in their unit, that's where the laundry facility will be. But it'll have a nice balcony with it and a big table. So we expect that other things will happen on that table as well. I figure I'm going to be cutting out some of my fabric for patterns and quilting and that sort of ideas. So I've got plans already for that. There'll be underground parking accessible off of the Fernhill Road, and the underground parking will all be EV ready, so electric cars for all parking spots. So that's one of the criteria for Esquimalt now, but it was also one of the things that our members wanted to make sure we had ready, because a good number of our residents, almost, I'd say 90% of them, are already driving electric cars. There'll be parking for bikes, and there will be, we're still figuring out how the bike parking will work in terms of places to do repair and maintenance on them and how we're going to run charging stations for those bikes, because we understand that there's concerns about that as well. So we're going to reach out to some of the experts in the area. So if you have expertise in this, we'd love you to join us and help us out with that. What else? Ground level outdoor space. We've got pockets of spaces where you can have these little intimate gatherings, that sort of idea. Some will be in full sun, some will be in the shade. Areas for kids of all ages to play that will have a soft-scaped, permeable landscape on it, so that it can either be people doing outside yoga, that sort of idea, or kids on their bikes and trikes riding up and down. So we've got some ideas running through there. There will also be a garden of some kind, the back northwest corner, and the Township of Esquimalt now has the new deer fencing regulations set up, so we now know what we can do in terms of protecting it for the lovely deer. Then overall, the outdoor spaces, native, drought tolerant, pest resistant, and sustainable with low watering requirements. So there will be very little what we refer to as grass, and there will be more things that are sort of steppable native type things that will last longer and are better for the flora and fauna in the area. The roof will be designed to be solar ready. We're not sure if we can afford solar panels at this point, but we'll have everything in place for it. And there's a good possibility that the heat pumps will end up in there too. So we're just getting that sorted out. Let's go to the next. So this is the basic floor plan. Oh no, I'm not, I'm in a common area, pardon me. First floor, all common area, which is great because we really love the idea that when you come into the building, that whole area is welcoming and usable by the whole community. So I can be there and I can be coming in with my groceries and stuff and see Judy sitting down and having a coffee. And I can come and join her for coffee and just leave my groceries for a few minutes and have a catch up and find out what's new in Judy's life, which is really nice. Informal, unpredictable, and it just keeps everybody connected. But I'll know who's in the room and I'll know who these people are, which is amazing. We're going to have a space with seating, or a dining space with seating for about 36 people at a time, and that's if we're doing sit-down table things. So we'll be able to move that around, and when we pack the tables up and put them away, there's big screen TV of some sort. I understand there's sports games that people like to watch together. And, movie nights and that sort of idea. So there's things that we want to do. We've got little rooms off to the side that work out well, so when kids have had enough of being with the adults but can't go back up to their apartments yet, we've got a kids play area, we've got a quieter room that people can go to. So there's lots of spaces where people can just sort of spread out when we're doing events as well. The kitchen is going to be quite large. I'm really looking forward to it. It's not going to be a commercial kitchen, but it'll be a community kitchen. So it'll have a couple of stoves, a couple of fridges, that sort of idea. So it'll be available to do some big stuff as well. I'm a huge bread maker. I would love to get back into making like massive quantities of sourdough at a time. I can't do that in my apartment right now, but that would be something I'd like to take on there. And then we have the outdoor area where there's going to be a covered outdoor area because it's nice outside in the winter, but it rains. So we're going to make sure that we can have a space set up that we can be outside in the winter with fire pit and a barbecue and that sort of idea to enjoy it. And I think I've covered most of that off. So people can ask questions there. So this gives you a little bit of an idea of what we were talking about with the spacing that's in there. We've got play spaces and barbecues and gardens. Oh yeah, and a space for dogs to run. And I use the word in quotations, so avoid it. Place for where we can take our pets out to void and clean up after them and stuff. So it won't be super huge, but at least we won't have everybody going just outside the building to take their pets. So if you haven't figured it out yet, it is a pet-friendly building. We're going to have a front porch that's going to face the Esquimalt Road, which will be really nice. So we hope to be able to have some connection with our neighbors and be able to invite some of our neighboring community members in as well. So we're looking to try and recreate that front porch of the days gone by in this as well. And on the 6th floor, we will have what's called common balconies. So if you don't have that view that you want, or you want to spend time out where you've not got any cover, you can go up to the 6th floor. And we'll have chairs and seating up there, as well as raised planters that we can use for things for gardening and that sort of idea. So we're hoping to do more of our vegetable gardening that needs the stronger sun upstairs. We have a number of gardeners already signed up to take that on. So more are welcome though. So we've done a lot of work with this. We still have more things we have to look at, and we're always interested in getting more input on what we can put in this place. So as I mentioned before, we have a range of unit plans. We start with a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, and there's one of those per floor on floors 2 to 5. And then we have a number of, we have 1 2-bedroom, 1-bath, which was our starter 2-bedroom unit that we were trying to develop. So for new homeowners or small families, that type of idea, that it's slightly smaller and as much more affordable than some of the other ones. And then we have 3 2-bedroom, 2-baths on each floor. And the reason we went for that was because we've identified that co-living is becoming a real requirement. It's a way that people can live together and share expenses. They share a common space, so they've got their kitchen, living room, and dining room that is a shared space, and then they've got private spaces for their bedrooms and bathrooms and that sort of idea, in addition to all the common spaces in the building. So we've got 3 units on each floor that can accommodate that quite easily. And we're really excited about being able to get some families in, or some single people in that might be able to do this. So we're hoping that through you folks as well, that we might be able to attract some members to that. So it's a bit of a process, and it's a bit of a learning curve. The nice thing about this, with being that it's co-housing, is that co-housing works as a community, so we're there to support each other. So you're not just stuck in your apartment, you've got all this additional space. And when I say additional space, we're talking about over 25,000 square feet, and that's not including the parking garage. Hope I got that right. 25% of the building.
And then one 3-bedroom.
And then there's 1 2-bedroom plus den.
Okay.
And then there's 1 3-bedroom plus den.
Okay.
So those are our larger units, and they're designed, the focus on those with for either that we've got one multi-generational family that's already coming in. So they've got their grandkids moving in with them, so they needed a larger space. So we set that up. And then we've also got the people that wanted to have the ability to have like their bedroom plus a den, because they're either working from home or that type of ideas. So we have a couple of different options in there. More details on those plans are available. If you come to some of our meetings, we can show you what they're evolving into right now.
It looks like you've covered off
some of
every
those
possibility.
2 bedrooms units, they have the bedrooms at opposite ends of the units, so there's lots of separation there.
Yeah, we're really trying to set that up because even if you have teenage kids, you kind of want them separated too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And does every suite have in-suite laundry?
They do.
Okay.
And that's an option that if you choose, you don't want it, say you want additional storage in your unit rather than the ensuite laundry, you can choose not to have it installed. It'll still be plumbed for it, but you won't have that available. You can go to the 2nd floor.
Exactly.
Meet up with me doing some design.
So there'll be a common laundry area as well then?
Common
what you're saying?
laundry area on the 2nd floor. And it'll have a balcony off of it. It'll be the only common room that'll have a balcony off of it, but it'll have a nice little balcony off of it, so people can hang out and do something there.
Great idea.
Yeah. So you don't have to invite people into your home per se. If you want to have a little bit of a social event, you can go to one of those common areas and do it. Let's see. So where are we at? Okay, so this has been a roller coaster of a ride, and I say that with the best intentions, because we're being led by a professional team, and so they know what we need to do and how we need to do it. So we're basically fast-tracked because the professional team came and recognized that Victoria was missing the opportunity to have a co-housing community. Many had tried, and none have been successful to date in the Victoria area. We've been successful in Sydney, in Souk, and then moving up the island, but nothing in Victoria. And it seemed to be that it was just because people came from so many diverse backgrounds and had many different needs that they were unable to come to agreement on what they could actually work on together. Whereas this professional team made us become very focused on what we were doing right off the bat. So we developed our community values in April of 2025. So we already said what were the things that were important to us. So even going out and looking for properties, when we were given our selection list, we knew that, oh, we want it walkable. This property won't work because you can't go anywhere unless you have a car. We want it to be accessible to public transportation. So a bunch of them got screened out. We didn't even have to look at them because they didn't meet our criteria. And I think by the end of it, we had 24. We were down to 12, which got whittled down to 5. And then my grandson and I spent the day on FaceTime with my husband, because he was up island, showing him the different sites that we were checking out. And so we actually physically visited all of those sites, and then he and I graded, well, grandson and I graded which ones he wanted. And Esquimalt Village Cohousing was the one that we were voting for. And then other people had done similar things, and we all pretty much came back to the table and said, this is the one that we want. And so we formed our community in early 2025. We secured our site in 2025. We put in our offer to purchase in June of 2025. We closed the purchase in October of 2025 and submitted our rezoning in October of 2025. So we went from, the rezoning was required because we have 2 duplexes on the property, and because we were building the 6-story apartment building, we needed to go through rezoning. So we started our rezoning process in October, and we got our rezoning approved on the 13th of July of 2026. So that is an amazingly fast process, almost unheard of in the development world itself. So we're quite pleased with that. And the only reason that's happened is because we've had this professional team managing us and a committed members that have paid into the project that are doing a lot of the background stuff as well to help out with us. So we're moving along quite quickly. So we expect that our approval process will be finished this year. We now need to go through the development process, and that will take a little bit of time. And the earliest we can start that process will probably be September. So by hopefully June of next year, we should be able to have shovels in the ground and start construction. In the meantime, we have tenants living in those buildings, and we are working on a tenant assistance program. We have a specialist that we've hired to help us with it, and we have members that are actually face-to-face working with the tenants in those buildings to make sure we understand their needs and to help them find new housing.
That's wonderful.
Great.
Yeah, and it's difficult because some of the people have lived there for more than 10 years. And so they're really attached to their homes, and they're really attached to Esquimalt. And it's going to be difficult for them to find housing that kind of gives them the same thing that they have right now. So we're trying to do it with a lot of empathy. But that's one of the things that we will be working on as well. So now we're at construction hopefully by June of next year, and then it's a 16 to 18 month project. We're really fortunate. Our construction company, Campbell Construction, that we've hired, has built 2 other co-housing projects with Renee Matthew. So they're familiar with how co-housing works. They're familiar with how the co-housing developers are. And they're quite comfortable working with our architect as well in terms of the design work. So we have a lot of things already past the gate in terms of comfort and familiarity with this. So this is quite exciting as well.
You'll be ready to go when the time comes.
Oh, yeah. And then we'll realize that we should have done something while we were waiting around in terms of community development. It's always like, oh yeah. So we talked about our professional team a little bit. Let me introduce the rest of the team. So Alistair Townsend is our project manager. He is an architect by trade. He is also a developer. So he's done a lot of these things, but this is his first co-housing project. So he is being mentored by Renee Matthew. And this is his life dream, and this is what he'll be moving forward with. And Alistair is actually located in Seattle, and Alistair, Renee, and Margaret met at one of the co-housing conferences, and they really connected, and they thought this would be a good thing to try and work on as professionals leading these co-housing projects. And it's been a learning curve for them, and it's been a learning curve for us in terms of how this has evolved. So Renee's our mentor for this, and she's the sober second thought. She'll sit there and just say, no, that's not going to work. Trust me. And, you know, we go, okay, we'll look at something else. And then Margaret Critchlow is a co-housing fanatic. She has a PhD in anthropology, so she's very interested in how people live together. She lived in Sault Harborside co-housing for 10 years, and she's recently moved to the mainland to another co-housing project. So she was part of the team that formed the co-housing community in Harborside and Sault. So she's very, very fond memories of it, but her life has taken her onto the mainland, so she's still on our project, but she's traveling back and forth on the ferry with us. She's our community facilitator, and she is also responsible for giving us the training and the skill sets that we need to learn about great things like conflict management, which is going to be wonderful in my marriage. Added bonus. And also about how we will work together and how we will live together. You know, sort of balancing that privacy and that community relationship. So she's going to keep us going in the right direction for that. And these are skill sets that we're going to have to continue with. Scott Kennedy is a partner in Cornerstone. He's located in Vancouver. And Scott has been so excited about this project that even before they were hired as our architects, he was on our Zoom meetings giving us suggestions about, well, I'm not your architect, but if you want to consider this or if you want to consider that, it was fantastic. And he's giddy with excitement. This is his second co-housing project. He was also involved with Little Mountain Co-housing on the mainland. So he's very excited to do another co-housing project because we're fun people to work with.
Great.
And then Giza is actually located in Victoria, and she's wonderful, and we're having such a good time with her. And she's 2 young kiddos, so we get to have little conversations about what would you think your kiddos would want to do here and that sort of idea. So we get that young mom perspective as well as awesome drawings that she produces for us. And so they've been on site and on our backs the whole time, so it's been great.
Wonderful.
So where we are now is we need people to help us build this community. So as we mentioned, we have 34 units. Right now we have 11 equity members in there, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But our community, as associate and equity members, is doing community building. We're organizing social gatherings. We're involved in project decisions, so everybody is involved in this. And we have design workshops. So when we talk about our project decisions, we work on something that is called consensus decision making. And I come from the federal government, so consensus decision making is a completely different kettle of fish for me. And so how this works is that we actually use a color card system. And when we're making decisions, the first thing to say is, okay, we have this decision that's coming up. This is the motion. Everybody who's in agreement with the motion, put up your green card and you're good to go on it. And then the next question is, does anybody have a yellow card? So they have some concerns or some questions that they want to clarification on. So then we have the discussion with those people that have concerns and answer their questions and verify that, okay, does this now make you a green, or are you still a yellow in terms of this? And if they're still a yellow, it means, okay, they're not going to stop the decision going through, but they want their concerns registered as part of the decision. The red card, on the other hand, will stop the process. And they have strong concerns about what's going on, and they have to tie that strong concern with how that violates our values and ethics that we've started out with. Not only that, the person that puts up the red card has to assume ownership over resolving what the red card conflict is. So there's an ownership on there. It's also up to the community to work with that individual or those individuals to get it done. So these things do take time, and the decisions are a little bit more protracted because of that, but every voice gets heard and every concern gets heard. So it's worked out really well. We've never had a red card put up yet, and we've talked to people that have come from other co-housing communities who have had similar experiences. So really, a red card really doesn't show up. And a red card is usually an indication that the decision hasn't been vetted through the communities enough, ahead of time. And that maybe at that point it indicates that we can't bring the decision to a vote and that we need to go back and do some work. So it's a really interesting process, but the decisions that we're making are solid. They're not spur of the moment. You don't have to worry about not being able to attend a meeting because there are other like-minded people already at the table that you can have confidence. You trust your community, that you can have confidence in making the decisions.
That's great.
So we talked a little bit about equity members, but let's talk about membership process. So here we are. You start as an associate membership. An associate membership is for 3 months. It's a $500 cost. It's non-refundable. What that $500 does, well, one of the best things is you get this community-led housing book, which is written by Renee and Margaret. It is the how-to for how to set up a co-housing community. And it gives you a really good idea of what's expected. What's nice about it is there's no test in it, but it's got some really good reference points and gives you lessons learned on a variety of different projects. So we really appreciate it. And it's part of your associate member. You get 3 months with it. So if you join at the beginning of a month, that month is not counted. We count from the 3 full months after that. So it just makes our tracking of membership easier. So if you were joining the state at the beginning of August wouldn't count and you'd be there for September, October, November. So nice chunk of change. If you decide you want to become an equity member, so an equity member is actually you want to join co-housing, you want to buy a unit eventually, that sort of idea. You need to top up to $60,000. And what that is that is your investment in the community. And your actual additional funds is actually $59,500 because we take your associate membership fee and apply it to it. What that does is that gives you full decision-making authority. You get to be involved as leads on various committees that we have, and you are more involved in the actual process of everything that we're doing on the co-housing project. You can be involved as little or as much as you want to be. Some people's family lives and work lives don't permit them to put a lot of time in. So there's just an expectation for you to put the efforts in where you want and how you can do that. So everybody shows up in different ways. It's not like you're going to be penalized because you're not putting in so many hours a month. That's not how we work. So an equity member is $60,000 right now. And then 2 months before we start construction, everybody would need to top up to 10% of their expected house value. So if you're buying an $850,000 unit, you would be expected to top up another 15 to bring it to 85,000. That would be the end of your financial obligation that you would need to put into the project. But the project is self-funded, and that if there are opportunities for what are referred to as additional shareholder funds, then shareholders can loan money to the organization at a prime plus interest rate, and that money is then applied at the end of the project to your purchase price. So it's actually treated as a discount.
So I think you said extra 15,000, but it would be 25,000 to go from 60 to.
Oh yeah,
85, right?
I'm terrible at that. Sorry about that.
You know,
Thank
so
you for that
nobody else
clarification.
looks at it and goes,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's not right."
She doesn't do well that well, but what? So 10%.
Yes.
So it'll probably be about the third quarter of 2028, about the third quarter of 2027 that you would have to top up to your 10%. So when I say third quarter, so August, September, October timeframe is when you would have to do that. Now, if you're buying a unit that's $60,000, you don't have any additional top up that's required.
Correct.
And then at the end of the project, your choices are to go for a conventional mortgage to pay the difference. You can set that up. We're a strata, that's how we're managed. So that's how it's treated by the banks. So fully possible to get mortgages on it. We have a mortgage broker that we deal with. So if you have questions about how you can do the financing on this or anything else, we have somebody that you can reach out to. Conventional banks have a problem with co-housing in terms of saying they can approve a loan because it's developer funded and we are the developers. So for them, they see it as a higher risk, and for banks are risk adverse. So Our mortgage broker speaks co-housing, knows how to speak to the banks about co-housing. They actually live in co-housing, so they can advise the incoming members as to what they can expect to look like and what their financial obligations could look like as well moving through this. Yeah, so next. So these are our values. We'd say these are really important and we set them up early. So we're inclusive and open-minded. We're sharing and supportive. Balance privacy and community, which is really important. We're environmentally friendly, and we talked about consensus building. We use empowered decision-making. So we use those as our values, and so whenever we're voting as part of our colored cards, our value statements are also on there. So we try and make sure that, when we start talking about something, like, oh, let's bring disposable plastic bottles to this event. It's like, no, we have to come up with a different thing because this is what we say we are. And so walking the talk is sometimes a little bit difficult, but it's also very grounding for us as well.
Exactly.
So to become an associate, you can register on the edcohousing.ca website. There's a join us page. We also just recently added a survey in there, so you can click the survey to see if things sort of work for you and fit out for you. And we also have coffees, and we do those on Thursday mornings at Serious Coffee, just across from where our project is. The coffee house is great. They give us a space upstairs for free, which is lovely. And we're there from 10 to noon every Thursday. So happy to answer any questions at that point. And then if that doesn't work for you, have it.
We were just there the other day.
Yeah.
They have really good pastries.
Yeah, yeah. And no, they're lovely.
Yeah.
And
Back
then
one slide.
back one slide. Oh,
There we go.
there we go. Yeah. And so, the other thing is if you want to reach out to us, it's not on there right now, but there's an info at edcohousing.ca, which is where you can send any of your general questions.
Okay, great.
Somebody will answer it.
So just one question that I had in terms of the drawing. Can you tell me where the access is to parking?
So the parking is at the top left-hand corner of the building. So that
Like
there's
right
a
here?
white spot there. Yeah,
That
would be
goes
the parking.
into, so it's like an
into
underground?
Underground parking.
Okay,
And right beside that is going to actually be, I didn't mention that, is we're going to have a car share, most likely Moto,
okay.
that'll be on site. We were looking at BCAA, but they only have the one size car, which is a problem for some people to get in and out of. So we think we'll probably go with a rechargeable, like an
Okay.
AV Moto car.
So basically each unit would have one parking spot, you think?
No, unfortunately not. One of the things that we looked at was what's been going on with the other co-housing projects and actually other rental complexes. And we found that our footprint would have to be much larger, or we would have to dig down another story, which would make it even more expensive
Okay,
to put in enough parking for 34 units. So we have parking for about 25 to 26 units.
so that's why you have the car share.
We'll
That's a
have the
great
car
idea.
share, and we also take ownership over the fact that we will have to find parking for whoever is more than 26 vehicles. We have some members that are coming in that don't drive or don't own a vehicle. We have some members coming in that are saying they're not going to bring their vehicle with them when they move. But parking is definitely not going to be first signed up, first come on this. We're going to develop what we've referred to as a community agreement for how parking is managed.
Okay.
So it'll be a rotational system that'll be strata owned. So there'll be a payment associated with it. And so if you don't have parking in the underground, it will be whatever the next cycle is that your name will be put in to be in the underground the next cycle.
And then visitor parking would be street parking?
It'll be street parking,
Okay.
yeah. So we hope to have 2 lay-by spots in front of the building. We're still working with the township on that. So that might be short-term parking, but it wouldn't be just short-term parking for our building. Of course, it would be short-term parking for anybody. But
Okay, so that would be like dropping off your groceries
Yeah,
or things like
we'll
that.
have a loading zone spot, which
Yeah.
will work for both for the handy dart, for any of those parcel delivery services, that sort of idea.
Okay,
We'll all be able to come in there, and then
Okay.
we'll be able to work that out.
that sounds great. David, do you have any questions?
The balconies up top there,
On the sixth?
have ocean views, correct?
Yes, they do. The ones that are facing Esquimalt Road,
These ones here?
these ones here are facing the Olympic Mountains. Different views depending on what height you're at. But the 6th floor in the top left-hand corner is the common balcony for all members to come and join in. So everybody will be able to be up on that area. The balcony on the right-hand side is a private space, but the rest of it is open to the public.
Wonderful.
And also on the 6th floor, we have 2 guest rooms, which are available for use by members, so they can reserve them, and it'll be a nominal fee. I haven't figured out the fee structure yet, but I think in one co-housing community, it ranges between $20 and $50 a night kind of idea.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're planning on having 2 guest suites up there as well. And one multi-purpose space where you can actually, reserve and use it for if you're doing some work and you need some quiet space, that sort of idea. We'd have that space up there as well with a nice little view of the ocean at the same time.
It looks wonderful.
Yeah, really excited about it.
Okay.
So right across the street, there's coffee shop, and there's Archie Browning Arena, so they would have a gym and pool.
Well, so Archie Browning has pickleball and curling. And then just down the street is the Esquimalt Rec Center, which has a pool. It has exercise rooms, sauna, and a lot of meeting spaces. So walkable distance, not even 10 minutes away from where we are.
Yeah, beautiful location.
Well, we think it's perfect.
Yeah.
Very walkable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very walkable. So if you don't walk up Fern Hill Road, you're basically on Flatline all the way through this.
Yeah, and I heard you say that you're also considering the fact that a lot of people have bicycles and they'll need a place to keep them, to store them, to charge them if it's an electric bike, things like that.
We have 48 bicycle parking spots.
Okay, there you go.
It's like
great.
that's what we're seeing is that we need more bike parking than we need vehicle parking per se.
Yeah.
And then we're also looking at working with BCA as to whether or not we can get some bike shares in there as well. Because some people
Great
have said
idea.
they might not want to have their own bike. There is no bike share option currently in Esquimalt, so this would be a good way to introduce it and host it for the community
Yes.
on our property. So we'd be
We
able
do
to
have
that.
it in Langford.
I know, all over the place.
Yes, right across the street from our house.
Yeah.
Lots of people use it.
Yeah, so we'd like to, if we're willing to host it, then BCAA is willing to bring in the bikes. And they wouldn't be for our exclusive use, but it would bring people around into the community. And it's one of the things that we want to be able to do in terms of supporting the community are things like that. So this would be there is a car share nearby, but this would be one that'd be right across from the grocery store, which might be perfect for somebody that wants to pick up the car, get the groceries, and then go home with them
Right.
and quickly come back. So it works out quite well.
That's great. Anything else, David?
I just want to thank you for a wonderful presentation and showing up today. So in closing, anyone that would like to know more, they have coffee every Thursday between 10 and noon at the Serious Coffee on Esquimalt Road right across. So thanks again, Jill.
You're
And
welcome. Thank
we'll
you.
talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me.